feel your max with Brooks Running and the all-new Ghost Max 2. They're the shoes you deserve, designed to streamline your stride and help protect your body. Treat yourself to feel-good landings on an ultra-high stack of super comfy nitrogen-infused cushion that takes the edge off every step, every day. The Brooks Ghost Max 2. You know, technically, they're a form of self-care. Brooks, let's run there. Head to brooksrunning.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Ring cameras and doorbells. A lot happens while you're away from home. That's why Ring makes it easy to check in from anywhere. Whether you're saying hi to an unexpected guest, making sure those packages are safe, or keeping your pets company while you're out grabbing groceries. It's all a few taps away, right from your phone. Be there with Ring. Explore cameras, doorbells, alarm kits, and more right now at ring.com.
This is the TJ Show. Dr. Kevin Leman. He's a psychologist. He's written over 70 books, many New York Times bestsellers. What a body of work. I've actually just discovered his body of work, and it all happened in the funniest way. We got a random phone call from Dr. Leman here one day. We were doing the show.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey,
surprise.
Yeah, guys, I'm listening to the show." I said, "What?" I said, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm just listening to the show. You discovered us in Chautauqua, New York." Dr. Leman, welcome to the show once again.
Hey, good to be with you guys. You guys are a fun group. I like to hang out with you guys. You make me feel younger.
Hey, thank you.
Oh, listen, you know what? I think most old guys that I meet, not that you're an old guy, you seem like do you share how old you are?
Yeah, I'm an old fat guy.
Wait.
Santa?
I'm old and I'm fat, but chicks still follow me. I want you to understand this. They follow me, but they're in walkers.
Okay.
I'm 81, but I mean, I'm doing good. I'm very active.
Yeah, I know that older people are very cool because my grandfather's 94. And we have great conversations. I mean, it always makes me so sad when someone, I think this happens in the workforce a lot. They say the quote retirement age is 65, and then they just sort of expect to send people out to pasture. And it's like, well, that's when you're the most wise. Sometimes you're the best at what you're doing, and you're only going to get better at that age. And so I always tell my parents they say, well, I can't wait to retire. I'm like, no, don't retire. Are we really supposed to retire?
No, if you love your work and you're passionate about it, you keep on doing what you love. And when you love what you do, it's going to come through. It's going to help people. I mean, that's why we're here to help other people. I write a lot of books. Well, do I write books to get royalties? Well, not really. I get royalties, but I write books that I think are going to help people. And today, so many things just seem off-center in our world today. So some common sense and some good parenting and good information about marriage or families. That's sort of my specialty. That's my thing. So if I can help, I want to help. That's real simple.
I think admitting that parenting is hard is a first step to actually changing some of the struggles that are happening in households all over the place. And, I think one of the big things that I see now that I'm actually watching for this kind of thing, because I wasn't aware of how hard it was for my parents, I noticed that kids like to rule the roost, and that's not cool.
They definitely try, for sure.
Well, you don't have to teach kids to be disobedient. I say with tongue in cheek, we've seen the enemy and they are small.
Well, Dr. Leman, the reason why I want to bring this up with you, and actually I really feel like it was almost a divine intervention that I discovered your book, but there was a moment where all my kids were very sweet about everything. And then all of a sudden, on a dime, it was almost like one day, one of my kids just woke up. I won't name which one. One of them just woke up and decided, I'm going to have a bad attitude today, and I'm going to be extremely rude to my parents, and we'll see what they do. First of all, why and how does that happen?
Well, they can turn in a second. There's no two ways about it. But here's the principle I'd like your listeners to really hear. An unhappy child is a healthy child.
What does that mean?
It means your job, TJ, as a dad, is not to make sure your kids are happy, happy, happy. When I speak at events, and I speak all over the country to large groups of people, I always have people come up and say, "Oh, Dr. Leman, we're so glad you're here because we too want happy, happy children." Well, the reality is, if a kid has a miserable morning, you don't have to try to be the fixer. You can take a look at that kid and it's an unhappy face. just don't go into that spider nest. I'll tell you, you'll end up like the fly. Kids know what they're doing. They know the behavior they're sending out, but don't go way too far and try to make sure your child's happy at every turn in life.
Well, it's interesting timing because just recently, and I talked about this on the show, but my kids just brought home hermit crabs from the beach. There was some sort of a miscommunication with my wife, Jess, and it really bothered me because I'm like, guys, I think you should probably call me when we're bringing animals into the house. And, we were joking about it and having a good time, but it actually did bother me. And, when I even suggested that, hey, maybe the hermit crabs are going to have to go to Graham's house, my daughter Charlie was very upset. But what I've started to do with her is I let her be upset and I go, hey, when you want to talk about this and really have a conversation, let's work something out together. And believe it or not, she's 9 years old. We can now have conversations and I'm able to talk to her. I almost talk to her like she's an adult at a negotiation table. And she takes me very seriously, where I'm actually like relieved that that's even possible. Mm-hmm. So there is a way forward here.
Well, again, the key relationship in families, TJ, is between daddy and daughter and mother and son. You can usually talk to the firstborn. They tend to be more receptive, more critical-eyed themselves. So good for you. That's a great start.
Well, I have a lot of work to do, but I'm still reading the book.
She's 9, but she's getting there.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. We're on with Dr. Leman. He is a psychologist, written a bunch of books, a lot of New York Times bestsellers. So you're known as the birth order guy. And you have said, and done a lot of work on this, that our birth order actually matters. Like it makes a difference.
Well, yeah. The firstborn is the lab rat of the family. Let's start with that. Parents, they don't know what they're doing when they bring home that little 19-incher from the hospital.
I wasn't that long, but I wish I was. I was pretty short.
Firstborn children tend to rule. They're very exacting persons. They're not really like surprises. They're much more into planning and organizing things. But take a look at the astronauts, the first 23 into outer space. You want facts? Here's some facts. Of the first 23 astronauts into outer space, 21 firstborn children and 2 onlys.
Wow.
Not a middle or a baby in sight. Your dentist, your orthodontist, your math teacher, in all probability, is a firstborn. Anywhere where perfection is paid off, and by the way, you want an anesthesiologist who is a very perfectionistic firstborn.
Oh, yeah, you do.
You don't want the baby, the family anesthesiologist.
That's interesting.
Yeah, name a comedian. I'm old, so I think of Billy Crystal and Eddie Murphy and Drew Carey, Jim Carrey, Martin Short, Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, Ellen, Whoopi. They're all babies. Huh. So babies earn a living sort of looking up, and they get away with murder usually. They can be very manipulative, social, outgoing. They can sell dead rats for a living. Most of them have a built-in personality for that.
So I have 3 daughters. Is there anything about a middle child that might be interesting, or if somebody is a middle child, they could think about, I never thought about that. Maybe I'm that way.
Well, let's start with something that's positive. I always say middle children are the peanut butter and jelly of the sandwich.
Yeah, it sounds like a good place
I love
to be.
peanut butter and jelly.
Tend to be negotiators in life. They never had mommy and daddy to themselves. Probably the fewest pictures taken of any child in a family is probably the middle child. The one that goes away and sort of stays by herself, and maybe you find her whimpering in a room because she's upset about something. Your best guess on that is a middle child.
Yeah, that is Willa, actually.
It is.
Yeah, that is her to a T, and we find her playing by herself, and she seems to be happy.
And they can be very happy. They do very well in life. They're great in middle management with people. Babies of the family, every day it's, where's the party? And what have you done for me today? So the key word for any parent to really figure out what it means is the word authority. And there are a lot of authoritarian parents around today still, but there's far more permissives, TJ. Permissiveness breeds discontent and rebellion, but so does authoritarianism. So the secret is get down that mid piece real good. Being an authority. Your yes is yes, parents. Your no is no. Don't get conned by these guys. I'm telling you, these guys are con artists.
Well, listen, I'm learning this and so much more because I really needed a rescue plan. So, I found this book. It's called Have a New Kid by Friday, and it's been a life changer for both me and my wife, Jess. And there are so many moments where we'll go through it together and we'll just kind of look at each other like, wow. Hadn't thought about it that way. Thank you for the work that you're still doing, Dr. Leman, because it's been very helpful to my family, and I just appreciate your work so much.
Hey, you're welcome. My pleasure. I love your show.
Well, we love you.
Thank you. You take
Thanks,
care.
Doc.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right. Bye-bye.